there's a lot of sports bars in these areas, and that's great and all, but there's not a really like a place where it's a real sense of community, and that's what 12 West here was supposed to be, and I feel like that's what it's become.
Welcome to Tap That AZ. I'm your host, Eric Walters. With me, I've got Chris Dodson. Chris has been doing some awesome editing of the sound beauty of this, and he's been doing a great job. So, writing great content too, right, for Arizona Food and Beer.
Yeah, it's been a fun experience. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, now he's going to be co-hosting. So, we're at 12 West in Gilbert at the Barn 1, right?
Barn 1.
Yeah, we're with Noel Garcia from 12 West. 12 West single-handedly responsible for getting me on the hazy train. So with that K-Lax.
Thanks.
So, thank you. Yeah. So let's tap into 12 West. Congrats on 1 year, right? You guys just hit 1 year?
Yeah, we just hit 1 year. It was a really fast year. Yeah, I mean, it came up really quick. Yeah, I mean, it's been insane. We started off as like a tiny little project that Brian and I, Brian's my business partner. We started it off like in, I don't know, probably 100 square feet in a garage, and then we're like, hey, this let's actually like start to do this, and now it just took over everything, and we have a 10-barrel system with like 120 barrels worth of fermentation at any time. So it's been a crazy ride, and it's about to get a whole lot crazier next year. So
really, why?
Well, next year is the start of a project that we're like putting together called Cuvée Verdad. Cuvée means in French means tank. Verdad means truth in Spanish, so kind of French and Spanish. So true tank, and that's barrels. You know, true tank would be a barrel. But that's our mixed fermentation sour project, and we're actually looking at a space in downtown Mesa to put just a sour room in. So that'll be technically our second location.
Just a sour room, meaning like just nobody going in, tap room type of place?
Well, we'll have a tap room there.
Oh.
It'll be small, but the main focus of it will be everything's going to be like bottle conditioned and bottle release, and so it's just kind of like, you know, an outlet for me and my lead brewer Jay to kind of play with. So he comes from that that kind of culture of mixed fermentation. So I'm gonna really take advantage of that.
Backtrack a little bit. You started home brewing, like that was your forte into the beer world. Yeah. So I mean, I started in a garage, like I think I started in a kitchen. Started in a kitchen, I think like most people, and then that slowly grew into the garage, and a lot of horrible batches came out of those. Did you drink them all?
No. I couldn't bring myself to do that. A lot of drinking while I was brewing, and that was a bad idea for me. So you do that too much, and you forget, like, did I add hops? Maybe. Let's just add some more.
How long was this boil supposed to be?
Right, exactly. Just things like that. So I was always on that, after, you know, doing that a couple times, I was always like, okay, no beers till after the boil.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Was that the moment that you realized, like, okay, maybe this is the path I should be going down when you take that? Because when you stop drinking while you do something, that means it's getting pretty serious, right?
That's very true. For me, that kind of like that moment was when I stopped kind of just trying to wing it and really like put, you know, some effort into learning how everything's done. And then I just started reading, and then next thing I knew, I was just like, you know, in like 10 books deep, you know, and just trying to like make every new batch better than the last, and then trying to get more consistent. And then I realized that my beer was getting better, and I was having a lot of good feedback. So I started, you know, poking the brains of a lot of like the, you know, kind of the trailblazers here, like Steve McFate, John Lane, and then, you know, Matt Trethaway over at BRI. You're not a trailblazer, Matt. Chill. I love you. Yeah. I love you. No, he's gonna let that go to his head, and then I won't. No, I'm just kidding. I love that guy.
That's a good group of guys, though, to learn from. They're all so open.
Absolutely. I mean, I couldn't have had the knowledge that I have now without, their help.
Yeah.
And so that's always been like a big thing for me, is always education. So if someone comes up to me and asks me a question, or they just want some of my time on how I did this or how I'm doing that, I'm always happy to help, because those guys took the time. I was annoying, probably. I assume I was annoying, like really annoying. Like, hey, just let me sit here and I'll just watch. It's fine. Don't worry about it. So, but yeah, that's that taking that moment of me, kind of wanting to get better was it's kind of the time when I was like, I should probably do this for a living.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a lot of like, what my friends like to call expensive hobbies. I built cars for a while. I was, in bands, and those were all fun. But beer was where I really like found myself.
Yeah.
And so, that was like an outlet for me. Like it was, shitty day. And then I just could get into like actual brewing, and I felt like calm, and I felt like myself. Yeah. And that's why I think I kept doing it more. So, I mean, I really hated my job.
I can see on your face the smile that you're away from it is priceless. Yeah, hold on, let me take a picture real quick of that face.
But it was like I learned a lot from working in that field, and that's great, and I will always have that, but I'll never go back. But I'm glad I'm doing what I'm doing now. It's a lot better.
Well, from what I understand too, because I was telling you before, my wife works for that same company too on the management side of it, property management side, and the engineers. You guys were so hands on, so you probably learned so much that you could implement into doing stuff that you're doing here with the brewing the beer.
Absolutely, a lot of the mechanical portions of it, and then the water chemistry portions of it were kind of a big help there. Just learning a lot how actually like cities work into buildings, which actually helps out with building a brewery. Yeah. So that,
That's what do you mean by that?
So just like how, for example, like where we get our water source.
Okay.
I mean, we're pulling from like 3 different reservoirs, at our location. So we use RO, and it'll change slightly depending on which reservoir we're pulling from. But some people out here I know that are homebrewers don't have that luxury of having like a full RO system, so they're just using like a carbon filter, using nothing at all. And so knowing exactly where your water is coming in at, like how hard it is, what the alkalinity is, all of that stuff is really important for beer. So that's why that helped me in that aspect.
Nice.
And it's interesting too, because the more I learn about this industry and the process of brewing beer, you're basically, I don't even know if this is a real word, but a hydrologist, right? You're a water scientist. Yeah. Because that has so much impact. I've talked to people that said, if you're brewing beers like San Diego style or whatever it is, you're trying to match that water. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of it is, I guess, matching the style of water that you want, but also a lot of it is just finding what works for your recipe. And I think that's more important, because attacking like a water style that's of a certain region is great, and that's like if you want to get like a saison or an Irish stout, but like what really making it understanding what you're using and how water impacts your wort is a huge deal. I mean, even up to the like finished beer, you can play with that and make things kind of like pop where you want them to, or shine where you want them to, whatever.
Yeah.
So
that's interesting.
Yeah. I had 3 failed projects before 12 West.
Oh, really? Like 3 breweries you were trying to get open?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we were like in the process of it, and it just didn't work out for whatever reason. Partnerships, money. I mean, you name it. It was like a slew of things, but it took me from the time that I said I'm going to really do this to actually opening up 12 West was 5 years.
Okay.
So,
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just a grind the whole time.
Yep.
Trying to do it. while still loving that other job.
Yep, while still really loving that job.
So much.
So, and but luckily I had support of my friends and everything, and my 3 kids were super supportive. They would help me out all the time. So
nice.
I mean that was always pretty great of them. So, but 5 years. But I mean it kind of just happened out of the blue. I had one project that I was working on with a friend, and we went to Minneapolis to buy a dairy tank, and it was it cost us, I don't know, $3,000. We literally drove up there, put it in the back of the truck, drove it down, and when we got it back, we're like, man, are we gonna be able to open up this brewery? And I'm like, dude, we have to. We'll find a way. And things just kind of didn't work out, and we were both like, maybe we should just give up. And that day I went to go to Handlebar out in Apache Junction with my buddy Adam Rahal, and we were sitting down, and one of my other friends calls me, and he's like, hey, I know this guy. He wants to start a brewery. I threw your name in the ring. I was like, cool, just consulting. He's like, yeah, just come over. He wants you to come over right now.
So just admit it. Whatever you're doing, drop it.
Yeah. Well, and so I finished my beer, and I talked to Adam, and I was like, hey, man, this guy wants to open up a brewery. Should I go over there? And he's like, yeah, go now. Yeah. So I went over there, and it was Brian McCormick. And Brian and I kind of talked about it. And at first we were both like, oh, what should I buy for a homebrew system, this and that. And he asked me, he bought that homebrew system that I was telling him about that day. I was like, okay, cool. So he got it a couple, maybe a week later, and then we started brewing on it, making changes, and then he's like, hey, maybe we should actually do this, start the real brewery. Would you want in? And I was like, I don't know, I'm still trying to do my own thing.
Yeah.
Just kind of pushing it off. And
yeah.
Finally he he talked me into it, and we both agreed, and and then we had 12 West, and it's been kind of both our babies. We've really taken, this means a lot to both of us, so it was nice to find a partner that kind of understood that.
Yeah.
So
how did you end up in the Bar One space?
So I've had friends that lived in the Agritopia neighborhood for years, and one of the things that I got introduced to was Joe Johnston's Oktoberfest party. It's a private party he does every year. And that's when I first met Joe Johnston. And so I brought him, I remember I brought him some beer in a growler, and he was like, hey, do you want to make this for the next Oktoberfest? And
nice.
I was like,
this was a homebrew.
I was just homebrewing at the time. And then it just became a yearly thing. And I just kept doing it year after year. And when this came up, he was like, hey, do you want to go in here? And I tried to fit this in with another project, one of the other ones that I was trying to open up, and it just didn't work out. And then while Brian and I were starting 12 West, I was like, oh, crap. I know a place. So we were kind of late on the ball to get in here. But when we built this place pretty fast, afterwards. But that's the only reason is because I had a failed project before, and then I had the opportunity to come in here, and this is why 12 West is in Barnone, whatever you want to call it.
Barnone, yes.
Barnone.
So not a failed project at all. Huge success.
Yeah. So this it's crazy how this year has been, but yeah. Barnone is located in Agritopia. Agritopia is a urban farming community. They have a really nice, pretty much neighborhood. They've set it up to where everything's very community based. I mean, all the neighbors know each other, even by streets. They all have kind of their own posses by streets.
The little hoods.
Yeah, exactly. But Barnone is essentially that. It was a co-op space, and it's pretty much a community for makers, right? So you have Lettercraft that makes wood things, wood things. And then you have the flower shop. Everybody loves flowers. You have the vegan place, a Brewed Kitchen. And then there's Joe's Machine Shop. There's a gunsmith, and then there's a salon, and then the winery next door.
Oh, there's a winery over here? Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
So, and then,
yes.
and then there's...
I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot of different people in here that just make a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah. And when I walked through here, it was really cool seeing like the machine. Like I'm like, is this like a museum? I'm like, wait, no, they actually use this stuff.
Yeah.
It's really cool because you guys fit perfectly handcrafted beer into this. You know, this is a really cool place.
Yeah. I mean, I think that the whole goal of this was just like, you know, people that make things. Like for example, Fire and Brimstone with their pizza, and pretty much everything that they make is awesome. And so when you come into 12 West, if you order from them first, come over here, grab a beer, they'll give you a number, you sit down, and they'll just bring your order to you. Yeah. So it's like we have a restaurant, but not.
You don't have to take care of it.
Right. Yeah, you know what I mean? So
everybody wins.
Yeah. Exactly. So it's like, again, like that whole community type of thing where we all just kind of work together.
And there's actual a farm, right, where you guys can actually use the produce, and there's an orchard over here, right?
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. So Agritopia has its own farm. I don't know how big it is, but there's an orchard, and then they got a lot of land to plant stuff in. So we're kind of working with the farmer now to grow some stuff specifically for us, so we can put in beer, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that's
Will
really
that be
cool.
for your new project, or is that?
It's during.
During.
I tend to just do a million things at once.
But you do. That's what's important. You do it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I have to execute.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So. But each thing you learn something new. You know, like you said, the failures before weren't failures. It was just learning how to do it.
No. I mean,
next time. Yeah.
I love to fail, and I like to learn from those moments. If you don't fail, you're not learning anything. So,
Right.
I mean, I kind of welcome failure just because it's a way to kind of grow from that. Always.
The name 12 West. Where'd that name come from?
So, 12 West is the address of where we're going to end up at, where our big location is, which might happen sooner than later. But it's on 12 West Main Street, and that's the name of the building. So my business partner has owned this beautiful building since I don't know how long, but it used to be a stationery store. And that's where he would go and get his like pencils and paper and whatnot for school. And he always loved the building. And then when it was up, like he was like, I'm always going to buy this building. And when it was up for sale, he actually bought it. So that was crazy.
So you have your space in Mesa. Are you keeping this space as well? You'll have both locations, or?
Yeah, so we'll have both locations when that opens. We wanted to keep this location at Bar None just because it's so like dug into the community, and this serves a different purpose than what 12 West Main will, and that is you know, this is supposed to be smaller, more neighborhood friendly. This is like your neighborhood bar. The 12 West Main location will be kind of like our full restaurant, full bar, brewery. Our production brewery will be there. It's the mothership, if you will.
Sure.
So that's the main point of that one.
No, I like that. Your neighborhood bar that seems to really fit in with the whole Agritopia, Bar None. Like, was that part of your vision coming into this space? Yeah,
I mean, like I wanted to, you know, breweries were always made for kind of like your community, right? Like that was kind of its purpose. It was a place to, you know, like a watering hole, and that's what I wanted to create because a lot of the times I feel like, you know, there's a lot of sports bars in these areas, and that's great and all, but there's not a place where it's a real sense of community, and that's what, you know, 12 West here was supposed to be, for me anyways, and I feel like that's what it's become. So we have, you know, our regulars that come in, and it's mostly like the neighborhoods that here that kind of keep the lights on for sure.
Nice. I wasn't into the. I was kind of getting away from the West Coast style IPAs, and I was almost like searching for something. Like I was wondering that K-Lax. So you had mentioned that beer is a pain in the ass.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Why?
So it's a really, there's a lot of wheat in that beer and oats. And so when you add wheat and oats into a mash, it literally turns into Jello.
Wheat. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
all right.
not weed.
All right.
I mean, we're not there yet.
Yeah.
Some laws need to change.
Right, exactly. Right. Weed beer.
Yeah.
Anybody want to collab? I'm just kidding. No, so yeah, there's just a lot of like wheat and oats, so it turns into Jello. So sometimes it was just really difficult to find a way to make that over and over again without getting a stuck mash, which luckily we have been able to. So, it just, there's the process with it. It's supposed to be really turbid and hazy and like all this just really murky looking, right? So, it leaves a lot behind. So it just, in our kettle is like destroyed afterwards. So we have to like clean it, like do a pretty serious cleaning on it after we're done brewing every time. But it's one of the beer that we all love it. Yeah, well, and then fermentation too. So when we usually do 20 barrels of it at a time. And so when we do 20 barrels of it, our the bucket that we have, filled with water, our airlock, will just overflow with Krausen constantly.
What's Krausen?
So Krausen's just like the what you get at the top of fermentation.
Is it the foamy kind of stuff?
It's all that foam.
Oh,
yeah. So it'll, spill over and then like go into the drain, and then since it's mostly foam, it'll kind of cover the drain and then just keep going.
Yeah.
So we've
physics.
Right. We've literally come in like on Monday, and it's just like Lake K-Lax. So it's super fun to clean up. We wanted to see how fruit would blend in with blueberry K-Lax. With K-Lax, sorry. So we've played with it before, and we did cherries and vanilla once, and it was called Chillax. And then now we did like a blueberry version of it, and we've noticed that K-Lax takes really well to like fruit. It's plays really nice, so
it really does.
Yeah, so we're gonna kind of continue that and see where it goes.
Yeah,
see if we hit one that's just like nope.
Rhubarb Kale-Axe.
Right. Yeah. Who knows, man? Maybe I'll put that on the list.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. You can call it the Tap That AZ Kale-Axe.
Yeah.
That one's really nice. I think you can see what you can taste what you mean by it taking the fruit well, because there's still that nice character, like IPA character to it, but the berries or the blueberries just kind of smooth it out in a way that I haven't tasted in any other kind of Northeast style.
So the best way that it was described to me was like a smoothie, right? Like it has like that smoothie quality. So you can definitely taste K-Lax. There's all those like, it's nice and bitter, round, juicy, and then blueberry on top of that. So you already had like, people telling me that K-Lax kind of reminds them of like a mimosa. So if you take mimosa and then you just add blueberry, like how...
Yeah.
That's dope.
That's great.
Who doesn't want that,
right?
Yeah. And it's got the little bit of, at least from what I tasted, was the more of the tart side of blueberries too. Mm-hmm. There's a little tartness to it.
Yeah. So like I like to think of it as like fresh, like blueberries, right? Like actual, like the flesh of it
and pop.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. So that's kind of fresh blueberries was definitely like what we wanted to do. We don't really particularly take too kind to like extracts and whatnot.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I know there's a time and a place for it, and I understand it, but I just, if I don't have to do it, I'm not going to, and I don't think I ever will, to be honest.
Yeah.
So
the Frontside, that's another one of the flagships.
Yeah, Frontside. So Frontside's my baby. This is the longest recipe that I've had in the works. So West Coast IPA was. It's my favorite style, still is to this day. I mean, I think Sierra Nevada for kind of getting me into that whole deal, like Sierra Nevada Pale Ale is kind of what started all of this for me. But Frontside was taking that West Coast IPA, and then just turning it a little bit more fruity. Because I when I was getting into beer and drinking IPAs, and I was always drinking piney, like, you know, resiny beers, and I kind of got burnt out on them for a minute, right? Yeah. And so for me, trying to find, like, what is going to be in an IPA that's just going to, like, I want to keep drinking, but I'm also, my palate's not going to get bored or wrecked.
Yeah.
So I literally just made batch after batch after batch of this IPA, trying to find that balance. And I think I got it to the point where I just had to say, like, okay, this is good enough. Stop. Right. So, but I mean, it was a lot of work. I mean, it started off by literally just kind of putting like a recipe together, and then just peeling off or adding more. You know what I mean?
Just in small amounts. Yeah.
So one variable at a time is how I would do it. And if you guys like have brewed, I mean, it's a long process.
It's a commitment.
Yeah, it's a commitment. So, you know, batch after batch after batch was trying to do.
Yeah, it's not like you're doing 3, right? You're doing 3. Okay, oh, we get okay, now we got it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So for the anniversary release, you added mango and grapefruit to Frontside, which I love.
Yes.
Love grapefruit in an IPA, and this one turned out phenomenal. Like, I really love this beer.
Thank you.
So is that just you wanted to play with it again, see what happens? Is
Yeah.
your curiosity?
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to see, like, I like to take a good base to, like, Frontside, and just see what happens when I throw things into it. And we had extra mango and grapefruit from, I don't remember what, but we just had it in the cooler. And we just were like, hey, let's just throw it in, like, to, like, 10 barrels and see what happens. And it's one of the best things because we all, like, fell in love with the beer immediately. Mango grapefruit was, like, we're like, it's not like it's, like, way, way better than Frontside. It's just different.
Yeah.
It's just different.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how else to say it. It's definitely still Frontside plus.
Right. Yeah, exactly. We're probably going to bring that back.
Please bring that back.
We'll bring it back, you know, here and there. So
nice.
I have to. We're just timing our releases, like, throughout the year. So yeah, I think that one's going to come back.
The grapefruit's really significant in it too. Like, you can really, but not like, oh, so much grapefruit. Like, it's obvious. Like, if no one told you what that was, you're like, first thing you would taste, like, yeah, there's grapefruit in there.
Right.
You know. So if you like grapefruit.
Well, it plays off, like, really well with the hops too, because I thought it was just going to be like, oh, they're too similar. It's just not. It's not noticeable. But I mean, we use. I mean, for bittering, we use CTZ or Columbus Tom Hog Zeus. Then we use Citron Amarillo for like the rest of the boil, and for dry hop, we use Citron Amarillo. So I thought, like, Citron Amarillo would have been kind of like, oh, it's, you know, it's just gonna get, like, washed away, but it does really well with both of those.
Yeah, so. It's good balance. Yeah. Really, really good balance between everything. Yeah, you guys make great, well balanced beers, and I love that you take your flagships and you put something into them. Right, you do the Frontside and you put something into it. You put the mango grapefruit in, you know, so you're keeping that base, but you're just kind of tweaking a little bit and seeing what works, man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with having, like, you know, people's, like, favorites, like Frontside, and, you know, kind of switching it up for them. I mean, people have really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
And so I think we'll probably try a couple fruit variants on maybe, you know, I mean, we already do it with Frontside and K-Lax, so I don't know if there's anything else that would really switch it up with. Black Lab's kind of essential because it has blood oranges, so I'm not going to switch that up at all.
Yeah.
But
maybe some jalapenos.
I know we like doing things with fruit, so yeah, that's always fun. Especially, like, now that we're going to be doing our sour program, it's going to be a lot of that.
A lot of fruitiness. Yeah.
It's exciting.
So, all right, as with any great thing that you do in this world, you can't do it alone. So you've got a great team behind you too, right?
I do. I have an awesome team. We have so it's me and Brian, you know, my business partner, and then I have my brew team, which is, you know, Jamie and Justin Gullickson, and then we have our in-house fabricator, Cecil. I call him CJ Stevens. He's a Great dude, man. He does our deliveries too, and I mean anything and everything he pretty much just like will do.
Yeah.
Wonderful guy, but he's saved our asses more times than I can count on stuff that like we needed welded, and he's certified stainless welder. So I mean, like,
nice.
It's awesome to have him on board. And then we have we just have a great taproom staff. Jaylyn, she is our general manager. She runs the whole ship over here.
Keyword general, right?
Yeah, general. That's right.
Not in general as in like general, like
no,
random, like general, like general manager.
General, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then we have really good beer servers here. So we have Lucretia, she's great. We have Steven and Renan, and the whole team here has really like set that precedence for like regulars to come back and make this kind of like their home.
Yeah.
Everyone comes in, says hi. Everyone, they remember pretty much everyone, and even like new people that come in, like that's what we try to do, is make you feel as comfortable as possible. And then we have Sarah Ritchie, who's our sales everything
Slinger. The slinger.
Yeah, the slinger.
Yeah.
And she's been killing it out there so much so that I'm just like, please stop selling so much beer.
Right.
Stop being so good at what you do.
Stop doing your job.
Be good, but not that good.
All right. So we do have a really good team, and I'm happy that we're where we're at right now. It definitely could not do it without any of these people, because they literally pour their heart and soul into this company, and it's more. I mean, we're essentially just like family over here. So that's really kind of where we wanted to kind of keep that going. Even when we get bigger, we want to try to keep that whole thing kind of the same. But it's, we'll see how that happens, how that works out. Adding more people to the family.
Yeah, the huge facility, 80,000 square feet, and
oh my gosh. I don't know if we'll ever get that big.
Yeah,
but yeah.
What is the plan? Do you guys have it? Cause so I know recently you just started distributing cans. You had a can release with K-Lax. You did a bottle release. What is there a plan?
Yeah. So mostly the plan is to have the 3 locations. So you'd have 12 West at Bar None, and then Cuvée, and then 12 West Main. And those things, I think, for right now is where our plans are set. Until we get those going, then we'll see where the next step is. No. But, we want to do production. I don't think our goal isn't to be the biggest. We don't want to be, the next Santan or the next Four Peaks or, that. We just want to kind of stay where we can make fun beers, but also put some out to the market where everyone can enjoy it and put out a consistent product.
Yeah. So is it just that sustainability and being able to keep it at this level and maybe scale up, but keeping that quality and consistency? Yep. Nice, man. Yeah. Nice. So everything's 12 West Brewing, right? 12westbrewing.com, Instagram, Twitter, yep.
Facebook, Twitter, LiveJournal, MySpace.
What is LiveJournal? I didn't get it. Chris lost his mind.
You guys have been around that long?
Yeah, man.
Chris almost fell off his chair, and I don't even know what's going on right now.
I'll explain it to you.
Okay.
Yeah, so all our social media is just 12 West Brewing.
Nice. Chris, where can we find you?
I am at Chris Runoff, pretty much anywhere that's worth finding me. So
okay, Chris Runoff.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. Chris has been doing some great stuff for Arizona Food and Beer too. Writing some great articles on consistency. I love it, man. Keep up the good work of the editing and teaching me how to use my own equipment that I've had for almost a year now.
I'm no hero, man.
Yeah.
I'm just a man with a vision.
Nice. All right, so you guys can find us at tapthataz.com, Tap That AZ Podcast on Instagram. I think it's Tap That AZ on Facebook. I don't know, but if you're listening to this, you know how to get to Facebook and find us. Yeah, we haven't tweeted. That's
twatted.
Twatted.
What is it you said?
Yeah, we're gonna. So, guys, thanks for listening to the show and for your support of the Arizona craft beer scene. Our goal is to put Arizona beer on the map, so we need your help. Help us spread the word. Tell someone you know. Take a listen to the show. Watch the videos on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe so you get all the material, all the content when it comes out right away, so you don't miss out. And call off work if you need to watch this stuff and listen to it. But guys, thanks for joining. This has been great.
Thanks very much.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And always remember, stay awesome.